Hello literature lovers, today I want to discuss few MCQs related with Anglo-Saxon period of literature, starting with the heroic couplet, starting with Chaucer, his work Legend of Good Women. He also wrote Book of Duchess, talking about the fusion tonic, Madame Eglantine, who was Chaucer was father of English poetry. We are very much aware of the fact. Next comes his very major fame of work, that is Canterbury Tales. Few facts related to it also available. Not to forget, he was connected with medicine also, astronomy also, and some other facts related to it also given here. Tabatin, 29 pilgrims were there in the morning. This fact is also quite interesting. Name of the nun who speaks French. These facts are related to Canterbury Tales directly, and they are asked so many times. Answers are given. For any changes, please do refer. Next comes some more facts related to Canterbury Tale. Wife of Bath, very interesting fact that she married 5 times. Jerusalem, a very sacred place for 3 different religions. Longest tale is Parson's Tale. All the facts are related to Canterbury Tales. Which is the last group. He was the carpenter, Reeve. Tabatin is the place. Tales were 24. All the facts are given here. Talking about the dialect, Chaucer's English was Old English, so this fact is also quite relevant. Need to be considered. Other facts related to it are given here. Chaucer's profession is as a civil servant. He was under the rule of the next, talking about the romance between whom and who. Next, talking about the rich people in the pilgrims. All are given here. There are so many facts related to Canterbury Tales, and it is so important, undoubtedly. Next, talking about the year in which it was written, that is 1387 to 1400. All these facts are quite relevant since Canterbury Tales is such a pioneer, so great, important thing to be discussed. Who had ulcer on his face? That is the cook. It was the question asked. Next, talking about how many lines are there in the prologue. That is 858. This is also some kind of fact. Which can be relevant for a time being. So, cannot be missed. All these facts are there. This is one of my personal favorite one, that who says that Chaucer is his Glot Plenty, that was Dryden. And Matthew Arnold said that Chaucer lacked high seriousness. This is also a very interesting fact. Now comes some other authors except than Chaucer. Now here we are talking about some of the works, some kind of misconception there that Jane Eyre and the modern version was there in the White Sargasso Sea. That is the second one who took the theme of Jane Eyre, and there are other facts related to it. Very interesting facts, all of them are. Some of the inspiration are quite common. So all the inspiration are discussed in this page. As you can see, all of them are given. The autobiography by W.H. Davis, the memoir of Siegfried Sassoon, all these interesting facts really help you in better understanding things. It is said sometimes that short answers lack seriousness, but I think it really adds some spice to literature and makes it more interesting. So, share your comments. What do you think about such Q&A? And I am right now nowadays try to add some spice by this Q&A, taking help from many other fellow literature lovers, and my heartiest congratulations and thanks to all of them to be part of such learning journey. If you also have some of the facts and you want to ask some query related to it, I'll be really obliged to help. Try to consult my other fellow learners and try to figure out. And since nowadays people are very much depressed and in some kind of doom, what I think that literature and books are your favorite friends and the best friends, and they will really help you rather than going to any other dark side. You should consult books. These books will really help you in better understanding. And I am continuously referring you so many books which will not only enrich your knowledge but it will boost your morale. Take for example work by Walt Whitman, Leaves of Grass, work by Herman Melville. Great works, out of this world, the way the things are presented here. Work by F. Scott Fitzgerald, Dickinson, Emily Dickinson, she's so good at it. It really takes you some other world while you are talking about them. And these interesting facts really help you in better understanding. Who said that a rose is a rose is a rose is a rose? That was Gertrude Stein. All the facts related to things. Who coined the title QED? A very famous work, Of Mice and Men, Go For It, by the Nobel laureate John Steinbeck. These are great works, really help you. Works by Salman Rushdie. My personal favorite, Midnight's Children, is so good, cannot be compared. When now comes the work by Toni Morrison, another Nobel laureate, great author. Her works really take you to that side. Works, I have discussed Lolita in detail in my earlier audio visual medium. Muriel Sparks, all the works have their own taste. You can take your own path and touch them. I have discussed Red Badge of Courage in detail. You can go through it. Seize the Day by another Nobel laureate, Saul Bellow. Oscar Wilde. Here the fact is wrongly written. Please, I'm sorry for that. Saki is not the pen name of Oscar Wilde. Please keep it marked. It is something else. So, for this one, I am sorry. I got the fact wrong. Please do share if any kind of discrepancy is there. There can be, since they are written quite quickly. Although I try my level best to share all the things correctly, specifically, but in case there are some facts which are wrongly done, do share it with me. Dead Soul is written by Gogol. So good work. My personal favorite is Namesake. Go for that movie. It will really enrich you. Gift of the Magi, I have already shared it in detail. It's such a great, beautiful book. Subtitles are also asked so frequently. Can't wait to see them. The Great Tradition was written by F.R. Lewis, very famous work. All the authors mentioned in it. Talking about literature, always anticipates life. It does not copy it, but molds it. Its purpose, well said by Oscar Wilde. Really great work by him. Casey. Sean O'Casey really did the work. Juno in Peacock, very famous work. Absalom, very great work by William Faulkner, another Nobel laureate. G.B. Shaw, another Nobel laureate. So you can see the greatness of work, the depth presented here. Talking about negative capability, some morality plays, all of them are very special. Dylan Thomas, Animal Farm by George Orwell. All these works really have their own spark and really mark the point. Coffee houses. These facts will really enrich you and almost revive your thinking, and if you are forgetting or some missing sometimes, the blocks in the mind really get distracted with other things. All these really help you in getting the real work. See Gokrishnapur. As far as I remember, it was not by Neeraj Singh Chaudhary. Please, it was by Berger. So do correct this one. I find there are many incorrect statements here. So do correct them, and I'll be more careful next time in case there are any more such incorrect statements given here. Although I tried my best to check them. But since I'm so into it to share facts with you, that I thought more and more people should be in touch with literature. I personally think that people are right now more detached. I find that many of my students and many fellow learners thinking that since there are no schools, no colleges are there, people are getting detached from studies, and that should not be there, and people are more and more into some other non-fruitful things. So I wanted more and more students, more and more people should be connected with it, since internet helps us in more and more factual things. So I really thought that this would help them in correcting, since I am right now also won't be able to teach just like old times, cannot be possible right now. We are all aware of the fact that due to the circumstances right now, it would be impossible for anyone to be like the old times. I miss those days. To share your opinion, how you think this can be. Vanity Fair, one of my personal favorite. If you get a chance, go for it. Vanity Fair is a great book. David Copperfield, you name it, all of them are undoubtedly one of the greatest works ever written. Dryden's work, Pilgrim's Progress, all of them have their own role in literature. A game of chess is a work of its own, it's also part of the work of Wasteland, but it is also some other thing. Mary Edgeworth, go for Don Quixote if you want to look for something funny. It's filled with humor. Don Quixote is very famous work. Arthur Conan Doyle, we are all aware of it. He's also a doctor and great works by him. None other than the great Sherlock Holmes. Can't forget it. Joseph Andrews. Then comes another work of Sword and Sickle. It's also very good, special work. Works of Matthew Arnold always have their own comedy of manners. All are discussed in detail here. Now comes Blake's work, William Blake, and especially his two categories, Songs of Innocence and Songs of Experience. Alice in the Wonderland. It's a Manichean satire. It's a very interesting fact. Go in detail, you will find it. Then The Peacocks, Thomas Peacock's Nightmare Abbey. It's filled with Roman Acuff. That is a novel with a key. This is a very interesting one. All these interesting facts, sometimes get scattered in your mind, but whenever I start reading them, it really helps me a lot. You see, it's so filled up with facts and try to summarize them. But for example, the willing suspension of disbelief. How can I summarize this fact in so easy? Roman Cliff, it is given in the detail. You can find it. How we can learn it. Morning Star of Reformation, who was called that John Wycliffe. First Poet Laureate, Ben Jonson. I personally think that these facts are really helpful, really enrich you, and I try to share more and more things to make it more and more useful. Do press the pause button and get all the facts. Penned in the Ganges by Raja Rao. The spelling is incorrect here. Eric Blair is the real name of George Orwell. It's an interesting fact. He was born in India. All objective correlated, so very warm topic by T.S. Eliot. It's great to understand whenever I start studying it. I heard it first time, it really no. The Legend of Fisher King. This Legend of Fisher King topic is very interesting. Go for it. Some random facts really enrich you if you are not into something like in going to the detail of the facts. I think random facts really helps you in not only getting better view of the work, but also in getting interested in so much things. Queen Fairies model on Homer's Odyssey, so you can feel how great this work is. It is based on that. That is what the fact I was talking about, that Middlemarch, a game of chess, it's a political satire. It was set in England. This work is also quite important. Really mark the point. Archetypal approach is associated with Northrop Frye. So this fact is also quite important. Father of modern English criticism, none other than Dr. Johnson. He is really PhD. And one of the Plum poet, Robert Burns, very interesting, very great. A Tale of Two Cities, we are much aware of the fact that it was influenced by Thomas Carlyle and it is based on French Revolution. William Blake's works, Song of Innocence and Experience, both are very special. We are aware of the fact. Talking about the work, great work, Tom Jones. Browning dedicated his work, Men and Women, to his wife. Really very thoughtful of him. He really respected women. That was not so common at that time. That's what I think. Oliver Goldsmith, another very popular author, go for his work, especially A Traveler. William Cooper's last work was Caterway. Joseph Andrews, very famous work. If you can get pass of it, go for it. Some other facts related to it. Sir Walter Scott took to write his first novel, that is The Waverley, about which he was very famous for. In 3 months, it took 3 months of time for him to go for it. The phrase collective consciousness is associated with C.G. Jung, a very famous. Agatha Christie's work are also given here. Very famous work, very interesting work. Hudibras, it's a satire on Puritanism. A very famous thought Puritanism was, the way they lived was really intrigued. Father of Dr. Johnson considered Dryden to be the father of English criticism. Next comes about D.G. Rossetti and all what is the common. They were all part of the pre-Raphaelite art. It's a fact that I have already discussed. And last comes Dr. Johnson's dictionary, which came out in 1755. I hope all these facts will really help you. Thanks for being part of it. Thank you.